All right, guys, my name is Ben, and I want to welcome you to Bullet Points. And today we're going to be talking about carry guns. And I thought this was a good topic to do because I'm currently actually switching over my Get Home bag. Obviously, Get Home bag being a bag that you keep in your car that's got essentials to get you home in case, stuff hits the fan. Now, my current Get Home bag is a pretty sizable bag because my old job was 13 and a half, 14 miles from home. So I was looking at a couple of day trek home, at least a 2-day trek home. So I've got that big bag to support me. There's 3 days worth of food, water, and other supplies in that bag. I will be switching it out for this bag. As you can tell, it is considerably smaller, but that is because my new job is only about 3 miles from home. So I don't need nearly as much in my Get Home bag as I did. And in that process, I'm going to be swapping out the firearm that I keep in my Get Home bag. I currently carry, and all these guns are unloaded. There's no magazines in any of them. Magazines are actually sitting over here, bullets. I currently carry an XD40, a Springfield XD40. This is a very, very good gun. I bet I've got close to 400 to 500 rounds through this gun. I'm trying to think. I've had it for years. It's been to the range with me quite a few times. And I carry this one because it is an extremely reliable gun. I've never had a feed issue with it. I've never had a jam. I run good quality ammunition in it. It does come with 2 different magazines. When I got it, it came with the short magazine, and it came with a taller one that holds, I think it's 4 more rounds. But I'm going to be swapping it out, because this is a little big for that bag. I mean, it's actually probably not, but it is at the same time. So I'm kind of going to take you on a journey here and kind of explain to you where I'm going at with this. I've got a different selection here of different carry guns and what they are and why I will and won't be going with them, and then you can kind of go along with me here. The very first carry gun I ever bought was a Hellcat 380. I've carried it for probably about 6 months. Now, mind you, this is 15 years ago now. A long time ago. I've had my CPL since I was 21, so we're talking 15 years ago now. And I carried that gun for about 6 months, and I never really liked it. And it was uncomfortable in the hand. It was so small that it hurt to fire. I don't know. I don't have any other way to say it. It literally hurt to fire. At least me it did. I've got bigger meat mitts here. So I carried it for about 6 months. I probably maybe put 100 rounds through that gun, maybe. And even then, I probably wouldn't have put 100 rounds through it if it hadn't have been my first carry gun and I was just trying to get practice with it. It had a horrendous trigger pull. It was crazy long trigger pull, and it was a heavy trigger, which I guess was good for a gun that didn't have a safety on it, for it to be such a long, heavy trigger. Now, I have a thing for little guns. I know there's a joke in there somewhere. I know there is. But, so I have a huge library of smaller guns. I really particularly like the older 25s. Like, this is what they would call a Saturday night special. This is a Raven Arms 25. It's unloaded. I've only shot this about 2 magazines through this gun because it's more of a collector's item for me than anything. I have a pretty good library of these little 25s, and they're really fun little guns. But for a carry gun, if you look at a 25 bullet, actually this one's empty. I didn't even have one. See, I wasn't prepared for this video. It's a tiny bullet. If you think about a 22 long rifle, it's almost the same size round, but it's even shorter. anything past point blank, you're really gonna have to hit them in a good spot. I think you're just gonna piss them off with a 25. Fun little guns to shoot. 25 ACP is getting hard to find these days as an ammo. It really is getting hard to find. But, I mean, they're not bad carry guns. I mean, most people like USC carried them back in like the 40s, 50s, and 60s. They would have been like little purse guns for women. My grandmother carried one of these guns for years. She actually carried a baby Browning 25. I also have one of those in my collection. She carried one for years. Funny story about this exact gun is to take it apart, you got to push this little latch in back here. And that actually lets you pop the slide off. I had this jam on me one day at the range, and I had taken the slide off. I had to take the slide off to get it unjammed. Again, this was years ago, and so I don't remember exactly why it jammed, but I remember I had to take the slide off to get it unjammed, and I popped the whole gun back together, went up to fire, first pull the trigger. I did not realize that this little piece had not latched in all the way. It looked like it did, but it did not. First pull the trigger, the whole slide came off the gun. It was interesting. The range officer seen it happen, and I was politely asked to leave that day for having a malfunctioning weapon. Funny story about that one. And then, but because I like the little guns, I do collect them. But let's talk about, I guess we'll start here. Let's talk about revolvers. I have quite a few different revolvers. This one is a, I don't even know what brand this is. It's a super, super cheap one. RG Industries. I got this one from my dad. He bought, I don't want to say he, but my grandfather bought this gun new, and then my dad had, and then my dad gave it to me. It's a good gun. It's 38 special. Fires flawlessly. Again, I've maybe only put 50 rounds through this gun. It's not one I shoot a lot. It's more of a sentimental firearm to me than anything. But it shoots flawlessly, as every revolver I've ever had does. It fits in your pocket. I said I like it, but I'm not a carry a revolver kind of guy. I know there's a lot of guys out there who are revolver guys. This particular model's a pain in the butt to load, so I wouldn't carry it anyways because I would never be able to get unload because you've got to unscrew this front pin, and then the cylinder flips out, and then you got to put this back in, and you got to screw back in. I would never carry this as a carry gun. A lot of revolvers are a lot different than that. I just grabbed this one as an example. So, but in the ways of a revolver, you can get the hammers bobbed, you can get the sights bobbed, and they're very, very good carry guns. I'm not a revolver guy myself, so I don't carry one. Like, I did carry this one though, so I'm going to put my foot in my mouth as I go from one gun to the next. I carried this one for a while. This is a North American Arms 22 Magnum. Little pocket holster. Carries extra 5 rounds in there. I don't carry this one a lot. If I'm really concerned about the size of the firearm that I'm carrying, I will. I will carry this one. But this one's kind of in the same boat as this revolver. As to reload it, you've got to pull the front pin out. At least this one's got a quick detent. And then the cylinder completely comes out. You unload it, you reload it. And then this is kind of a pain. I actually did it really good that time to get that back in if you don't get it lined up properly. I've maybe put 30 rounds through this gun. It's horribly inaccurate. This is another one kind of like this guy that you've almost got to be point blank, because at 5 yards, your spread's 1.5 feet, 2 foot at 5 yards. But it is a 22 Magnum, So it is a more powerful cartridge. If anything, you will scare the ever-loving crap out of whoever you're firing this at, because this sucker is loud. It is loud. Anybody who's ever shot one of these would know that this is loud. I also have the long-barreled version of it, just for fun. I did put custom grips on this one. But I said I have carried this one. It's not my favorite. Going to something a little more interesting. This is a Cobra 38 Special. It's a 2-shot Derringer gun, or a boot gun, you'll hear people refer to them as. You know, the whole barrel flips up. You put your rounds in there, relock it. You pull the hammer once, fire, it fires the top barrel. Pull the hammer again, fire, it fires the bottom barrel. I actually have a couple of these. They're fun guns to shoot. Don't get me wrong. And if I had nothing else, I would take this every day of the week. But the recoil is horrendous on it. For such a little hand, and I've got big hands. The recoil is horrendous on it. Again, it's kind of fun to shoot, but I guarantee you are not going to put more than 4 rounds through this thing at a time. They make them in smaller calibers. I've seen them in 9mm. I've seen them in 22 Magnum, 380. They make them in bigger calibers. I have a single barrel one of these, so it's not an over-under. It's a single barrel that's 410 45 long Colt. And when you load that 45 long Colt into it, literally you have probably less than a half an inch of rifling. That's also a horrendous one to shoot. I'm sure somebody like Kentucky Ballistics would argue against that. He likes those big caliber guns, but the big caliber small guns. But again, better than a sharp stick. But I don't know if it's the best carry gun for most people. Like I said, it works. It fires. Again, the accuracy on it leaves a lot to be desired. So we'll go from there. Now, the one I've decided to carry in my new Get Home bag is a gun I've had for a lot of years. I'm really familiar with it. I've got hundreds of rounds through it. It's a really, really comfortable gun to shoot. Again, this one's kind of like the, I'll clear it for you before I go messing around with it. This one's kind of like the Hellcat, as in it's got a crazy long trigger pull, but at least it's not a really heavy trigger pull. Anyways, this is the Kel-Tec PF9. I've got the one that's got, obviously, the OD green handle, the OD green base. This is a fairly accurate gun. I am very confident with this gun out to, really confident out to about 10 yards, 10 meters. I'm okay out to about 15, and I could hit a person at 20 with it. But again, most your concealed carry, most your incidences are considerably shorter distances than that. This is the one I'm going to be putting in there. It's light, it's accurate, it's easy to shoot. It's a 9mm. It doesn't have an absolute ton of recoil. I mean, it does, but most carry guns do, but it's not nearly as bad as the 380 Hellcat. And it's about twice the size of the 380 Hellcat. It's easy to take apart. It's easy to clean. Overall, it's a gun that I've been very, very happy with. So that's the one we're going to be putting in our new Get Home bag. Like I said, when I carry something, I like it to be something that I have confidence in. I have put several hundred rounds through this gun. It has never jammed. It has never misfed, short of having an ammunition issue like a primer that didn't go off. I have never had a failure with this gun, and I like that when I have confidence in my firearms. And like I said, with it being a 9mm, it has stopping power. It's also light, easy to carry, and it's fairly well priced. But listen, when you go to select your own personal carry gun, I tell everybody, go to the range, try them out. Most ranges has a pretty large selection of rental guns, and try them. That's actually how I ended up with my Springfield. When I went to go do my CPL classes, I didn't actually have a pistol at the time. So the range loaned me their Springfield, I believe it was the XD9. It was the 9mm version of this one. XDM9. I think it's the XDM9 is what it was. And I really, really liked it. And I was super, super accurate with it. Like right off the bat with no training, I was super accurate with it. I've had great recoil. So the first gun I went out and bought was a Smith & Wesson 9mm. I know, story took a turn there. Because I was broke at the time, I had to go find the cheapest gun I could find, which was a Smith & Wesson Sigma 9mm. Some people might remember the Sigmas. They're a Glock clone. That particular gun, I bet I've got close to 2,000 rounds through. I shot the ever-loving hell out of that gun. Loved it. But when it came to carrying a gun, my first carry gun, purpose-bought carry gun I ever got was this one. And I really, really liked it till this day. I really, really like this gun. When it comes to my compacts, I won't be getting rid of it. Let's put it that way. I've got a nice little hip holster carry. When I bought the gun, it actually came with a holster. Came with the whole big nice case, everything. You know, here's the holster I carry my Kel-Tec in. A nice little leather holster. And like I said, the North American Arms 22 Magnum. Get out and fire it. Get out and shoot a gun. Get out and find a gun that you're going to be competent with. You don't want a gun that's going to scare you. You don't want a gun that's going to be inaccurate. You don't want a gun that's intimidating for you to shoot. You want something you're comfortable with. And if you go to the range and you try a bunch of different guns, and the only thing you're comfortable with is a 22 long rifle, carry a 22 long rifle. It's better than a sharp stick. Plenty of people have defended themselves with 22s. So just get something you're happy with. Fire a bunch of different guns. If you've got friends that'll go to you to the range to try different ones, go for it. I've done that a bunch of times. I've done that a ton of times. That's how I ended up with the 1911 that I have. I had never shot a 1911. Was at the range. My buddy had one. I shot it. Loved it. Went out and bought a better one than he has. And that's a story for later. That's actually why I've got this mat here. I've got my Colt 1911 mat. And I've got my Glock mat. If this video helped anybody, let me know. Let me know what you carry. Put in the comments what you carry, why you like to carry it, what your reasonings are for that. Let me know if you have any comments, criticisms. Like I said, try to keep them nice, especially in the comments. And thank you guys for tuning in to another video on bullet points. And I'll have another one coming at you soon.